Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, hello. All right, welcome back. Thank you all for joining us. Today, I have a guest. My brother has joined me, and so we're basically just gonna sit around here. We're just gonna talk. So, if you have not met my brother Jason yet, here he is. And we do have one idea that we're just kind of tossing around, but for today's purposes, we're gonna go wherever it goes. And if we feel like rabbit holing down something, we're just gonna do it. So hang on for the ride, and here we go.
All right, let's do it.
So, all right, let's start with something really simple. The one topic that percolated as we were just chatting before we hit the record button was the global fertility and the population trends. And so, super quick outline, and then I'll pass it off to you. I was shocked when I found out that between 1950 and now, we have gone from the average woman having 4.9 children to 2.3. That is like a 50% decline globally around the world. We are almost approaching the negative. So if a woman has 2 children, that would replace, in theory, the man and the woman that were involved. So you got to see a 2.0 in order to sustain the current population. And what we're seeing is a massive decline. And in honestly, a relatively 75 years, that's a relatively short period of time. What are your initial thoughts on the global decline that we're seeing there?
It's catastrophic. There's going to be nations that won't exist short immigration within the next 100 to 150 years. I've done math on several countries that are really, really hurting. So if you look up, and maybe you can do it while I'm talking, but look up Japan and South Korea. They likely will not exist. So your average person that's born today will probably see the decline of South Korea to non-existence in their lifetime. And Japan will be shortly after that. That's scary.
That's interesting, because that would completely change the makeup of that entire region.
Correct.
I mean, I'm thinking about South Korea borders North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be nobody there to stop them. So North Korea is not going to have to take anything over. They're just going to inherit.
Walk right in.
They just walk right in.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And think about. Go ahead.
And North Korea is no slouch for as far as military forces go, which I think a lot of people outside of the military don't necessarily know that.
No, they don't. But think about this. In 1940, Japan was on the verge of taking over much of Asia. And maybe more if they could have. And by 2025, so by 2125, they might be almost non-existent. So think about that. Less than 200 years, they can go from almost taking over much of Asia to almost being gone. I don't know. Something about that freaks me out. And I don't like it. And if you look at the much of the Western world, and right before this we were rattling off some numbers, but we've got U.S. at 1.6, Canada 1.5, Germany 1.4, Spain 1.3, Italy 1.3, Netherlands 1.7. They're not replacing. They're not. Nobody is.
Those are all sub 2. Anything sub 2 is not replacing.
Anything sub 2 is not. 2.1 is growth. 2.0 is sustainment. Anything less than that is going away. It's really scary. It's not a resource problem. This planet doesn't have a resource problem like we were led to believe in 1985. This planet is having a population problem, and it's going to happen really fast. And if people don't pay attention to it, it's we're going to be too late. So it's really scary.
So flip the coin though. What's the argument on the side of the decline? Like for the people who would say everything's being overly populated, there's too many people on the planet. Because let's be real, we've all heard that. What's the argument?
Well, okay, so wait, an argument for why it's not that big a deal,
No, like
or why
why we
should
should
consider it
go
a big
for
deal?
less. Yeah, no, why not? Like
N-
no, Pete. Some here's let me rephrase my question.
sure, yeah, go for
Some people are arguing that we need less people on the planet.
it. Okay.
What's like? What do you think is behind that argument? Most of the time, they say things like resources. We don't have the resources to sustain 8 billion people,
Uh, yeah,
which
well,
doesn't seem accurate because we're sustaining 8 billion people.
okay, well,
What's
I
the
don't know
argument?
how conspiratorial you want to get with this, but there's a couple possible theories, some of which I may have heard and come across, or some of them are it's a mix of maybe what I think too. But it could be like a lot of people growing at a rapid rate are hard to control. Creativity and ingenuity is also hard to rein in. And when you have many, many people born and you have many, many creatives and people that are coming up with new ways of doing things, then those that want to control them find it harder to control. Right? So if you can reduce that, then the going conspiracy would be to reduce the amount of change that is capable, and that could be technological, it could be in agricultural, it could be in many different areas. But if you reduce the amount of change, then you also increase the amount of control you have over a smaller group of people. That could be one. So it could be just something from the top down, where
Yeah, it could be an elitist thing
an elitism thing. Yeah.
though. Yeah,
So
it's terrifying because to me that seems like an Occam's razor sort of answer. It's the easiest solution to get to.
yeah, true. I don't. I'm having a hard time thinking. I mean, the resource one is the easy answer because that's just like, well, I mean, if you can't grow enough wheat, then you can't feed people. So then you want less people. But
Which, okay, sidebar. Let me ask you this. If we're so concerned about growing enough wheat, then why are so many countries content having an endless war between Ukraine and Russia, where a lot of our wheat grows?
oh
Like,
yeah.
what's up with that? I mean, do we not have enough or do we have enough?
Well, okay. Then you could also argue, is wheat even that healthy? So like, do we need it? Like, so do we need it or do we need it? Like, that's a tricky one, right? I don't know.
Man, I live in North Idaho. We got deer and elk and pretty much every animal that you could want.
Yep. And
So
here in Utah, it's sheep and cattle and deer everywhere also. So that's, Rocky Mountain living, right? So
right, you eat what's in your area,
correct. Yep.
which we did forever and ever. Okay, small factoid for you. This is one that I used to throw at people uh, because people who talk about overpopulation, I know I'm totally traversing here,
Sure.
but the overpopulation issue. Um, how much of the world population do you think we could fit in Texas?
Oh, darn near all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
8.1 billion would have over a 3 foot by 3 foot space. And if you built it 2 stories, shoot, they could all have a 700 square foot apartment or something stupid. Like, it's crazy.
Okay.
So people who talk about over now all the resources that it would take. I mean, we could literally leave a big part of the world untouched completely if we wanted to go with dense housing.
Yeah,
But that has its own issues as well.
for sure. And the most obvious one is, well, everyone has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
So I have a hard time thinking the Gulf would be any fun swimming in, dude.
You're right. Or
It's got to go downhill,
oh,
right?
well, we now have a border between the US and Mexico.
And no one's crossing that one.
And yeah, nobody's swimming that.
They don't call it the Rio Grande for nothing.
Oh my gosh. That's so awful.
It's so bad. But yes, I get that. Yeah, the as far as where people live, I forget the exact stats, but it's something like 70% of the world lives within 100 kilometers of a water of the ocean or a water source. I forget. It might be the ocean. I don't know. It's some high number that lives really close.
Well,
So,
that makes sense historically because we had to.
well, we had to.
We had
Yeah.
no option.
Right. And then why would we move anyway? And so, yeah, so eventually, you know, Muggsy, what's his face, decided that Las Vegas should exist. And so,
Yeah.
whatever. But it took freaking forever for something random like that to happen, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. It took a lot of technological advances. That's all it took.
Well, and then a huge dam, right? The Hoover Dam, right?
Right.
You have to build the
Yeah.
dam to
Technology.
correct. Exactly.
Like we had to be able to control water flow, which is kind of interesting because we've always tried to control water flow. All right,
Oh,
man. Let's get back on track. Did you know that South Korea is on a much faster pace to being extinct?
yeah. South Korea and Japan. Yeah. It's point 5 or point 0.6. What is it at?
Point 0.72 to
Yeah.
0.75.
Yeah. No, I ran the numbers. That's how I know South Korea is
That puts them
probably
like 70 years. They're gone.
70 years will be the last generation born. 100 years they'll be gone. That's the numbers I ran.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You and I are too old to see it, but our kids could see South Korea gone. That's freaky, right?
Yeah. And what does that mean for like all these globalists? Look, I get the idea of we want to be universally humane. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
My concern is as soon as South Korea gets too weak to defend itself, then who's going to own and control South Korea?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. That it becomes an immigration issue more than anything else. Which means what? Which means the same cycle that appeared 150 to 200 years ago will happen again in a different format. So instead of the Europeans being the colonizers to much of the world, it's now going to be other nations that will become the colonizers for much of the world. All we're doing is the same thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So we are slow motion nomadic still,
Correct. Yeah, history hasn't changed. It's the same.
which means having a an identity would become even more essential, more important.
Depends on what you
Because
mean by identity. You mean a
like
national identity?
yeah, like knowing who you are as a people.
Oh,
Because
it's
if you
virtually
don't
impossible.
if you don't know who you are as a people though, then you just relocate and your kids have nothing.
Correct.
Dude, I can't even like
It's weird, right? It's super weird.
yeah, I don't know
And
if I like that.
and nobody's talking about it. That's the thing. We're talking about the price of gas. We're talking about ICE raids. We're talking about government shutdowns. And you've been talking a lot about like insurance and stuff. It's like, yeah, these are all big deals for sure. They're big deals right now. They're big deals
They're
to
just
us,
noise.
but they are just noise. But this is a serious problem. Here, let me run you through some other stats. So the average age of women having their first child, also a huge contributor, among other things like just general health and healthy pregnancies and drug usage, whether it's medication or whatever. All these other factors, plastics in the food, anything you want to think of that is contributing to the inability. How about this? The average age that a woman is having their first child in the US is 27.5, Canada 31, UK 30, France nearly 30. Germany, Spain, Italy. So these are, again, Western world. So I'm just focused on the Western world right now. Australia, 30. Fertility starts at anywhere from 16 to 18 years old, roughly, and lasts for about 10 to 12 years if you're lucky. And is your most fertile years for giving birth to healthy children, correct?
Okay.
So if you're going past that, if you're approaching 30, what is the likelihood that you're going to have healthy children? Like it's just we're doing is just eating into this in many ways.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't know, but what about so we know that back in the 1950s that more babies would die at birth than they do today. So if you had
Hmm.
five children, you would probably by the time they were one, you'd probably have on average like three or four,
Yeah.
something like that, because
Yeah.
babies just died more. It was just more common that a
Correct.
baby would die.
Correct.
So today, it's probably like, I mean, if they have one, the chances of it living are pretty good.
True. But here's the thing: you're trying to undo tens of thousands or millions of years of evolutionary biology, depending on your belief system and structure, whatever, different conversation. But you're trying to undo biology by here. Let me see if I can phrase this right. But our biology hasn't changed. So even though health and the ability and medical practice has improved, our fertile years still haven't changed. It's still
Right.
16 to 28, whatever it is, right? That's going to be the most. So if we are able to have more healthy children, we don't have to have 8 children so that 4 can survive through adolescence, so that we can be above replacement level, right? That's not the world we live in now. But we if we have children at 30 or 35, we can, but it's harder to. And you can't what's the chances you can have 3 or 4 healthy children like you did 100 years ago between the ages of 30 and 40? Like it's really low. So all we're doing is it's the same problem. We're just forcing a different problem on top of it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense because our bodies do change as we age. That's for sure. Um, so what would we like? What do we do about this other than talk about it so people pay attention? But you know,
Um okay, how
we need
about
those numbers to go up, right?
yes. So this is where we can enter your world in clinical psychology and family dynamics. If you believe the conspiracies are to control people or whatever it is, let's say, and so you want to have less people, right? So first you figure out uh, how to get rid of young children. So you can put abortion into that category if you want. You can put women in the workforce into that category. You can put a whole bunch of things in there, and they're loosely floating around in that murky mud of how to reduce the population, right? So put that all those in that category. Then what you can do is say, I don't know, how about you break up the nuclear family? Let's promote nuclear family demise, right? So that way the motivation isn't there to actually have kids or want to have kids,
Sure.
right? And so you do that, and so if if you combine all these things, which you're seeing today, the 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 way to solve it is to try to go at the root again, and that is, let's promote the family. Let's promote family dynamics. Let's promote things that can be used to actually encourage younger people to want to have kids younger so that they can have more healthy children so that we can actually sustain our population or grow it. So why don't we go there?
That is super hard because right now, younger people are taught that they deserve to have things given to them. And the response that we would see, well, first of all, I'm gonna be clear. In my practice with younger people, they do want to have children. At least where I live and where my experience is, younger people are saying, "Oh, I absolutely want to have a family. I want children," which is kind of cool to hear because 15 years ago I was not hearing that very much, but
Okay.
now I am. So that's exciting. Um, but the reason I say it's so hard is because the idea of I want to have children, but I can't buy a house. I want to have children, but I can't afford my groceries. I want to have children. And so the solution that's going to be brought to you by whichever political party gets to office is going to be, oh, let's give them money. But that doesn't solve the problem. It's
Well, having children isn't a resource problem. You and I know that. It's
right.
it's it's a responsibility problem.
Correct.
I
That's
I
why
argue.
that's why it doesn't fix it. So then when you because that is to me that would be the first head-to-head combat with this idea. It would be, well, we need to make it more possible. Give them money. And then all these people having children are now dependent on the government, which is exactly what they probably want. And it really
Yeah,
doesn't matter
yeah.
what party it is.
Yeah, you said they, right? So I was just making sure people knew you said they.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. It's nobody's ready to have kids when they have kids. I don't care how ready you think you are, you're not ready.
Right.
So waiting till you're ready is a stupid sentence because you're just not. You don't know what you don't know, and until you
Right.
have something to be that responsible for, you have no freaking clue. And so basically what you got to do is you just got to decide and do it because otherwise you're just never gonna. And if you do, you're just I don't know. You think you're going to be super prepared and ready, and you don't even. I don't know what. I mean, you remember the first time you tried to like buy food for your kid, and you're like, I don't even know what they can eat, and and you're like, well, don't they eat what I eat? It's like, well, yeah, kind of, but they don't have teeth. So, so what? But so you think through this, and it seems so logical. It's like, well, I'm having steak tonight. Well, they can't eat that, right? Well, how about you just mash it up? It's like, no, literally, they'll choke on it no matter how small you make it. So it's like they can't eat that. It's like it, but these are the things you don't think about. So you're just not ready. You're not ready.
I do agree that I just did a parent seminar about 2, 3 weeks ago, and there's not such thing as a parent who is actually prepared. That is true. And there's got to be a way to teach them that even though you cannot prepare, it's still the best thing ever.
Well, okay. Yeah, agreed. It's you're not ready, but you are biologically attuned to know exactly what to do, just not how. Hence why brothers and sisters and cousins and grandparents are so important because because they did it and screwed it up already, and they can help you not screw up the same things they screwed up. It's again, it goes back to the family. A closer family makes people more ready for things they're not ready for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going into the gamer world a little bit. Feature unlocked. It's like when you
Yeah,
have a child,
exactly.
feature unlocked.
Yeah.
Wow, now I can jump a mile high. Like,
I got the
hey,
sword of destiny. Now I
yeah.
can do this thing. Yeah.
Like, oh, I know how to feed a child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just remember the first time when you were holding uh my little man, he I thought for sure his head would fall off. I'm like I'm like, how do like I didn't know. And the first time you did it, someone had to show you because you're
Yeah.
like, is her head gonna fall off? Like her neck? It's like it doesn't work. You know, and so when I did that, I was like, I don't even know. And then I was like paranoid about putting my face too close because I was like, all my germs are just gonna get sucked into his face, you know? And I was like, do I stay away or do I, you know, or does he need my germs? I don't like it's just so weird, but it's it's a fun process, but you're not ready. People around you need to know that you're not ready and they need to be willing to help you. And then inside of you, you have stuff. There's stuff there already that knows, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
And
it's true because if you take somebody who's got an IQ of say 70, they can still get a kid to survive until they're 18. There's some
yeah,
built-in mechanism
correct. Correct.
like in there. And it does unlock features, no matter how intelligent or how dumb we are. It does unlock features.
Oh yeah.
It's this conversation, this is a total possible rabbit trail, but it's reminding me of the seven loves,
Mm,
the Greek terminology. And I'm like, before I had a kid, I envisioned all love as eros, all of it. It's like romantic love. Where's the women? Show me the women. I know they got to be around here. Like
yeah.
something feels different. Something smells different. It's not a man.
Yeah.
Like it was literally as animalistic as I just made that sound. Kind of like that.
Mm,
And I think there's a design for that too, so that we find somebody early
there
and
is.
stuff like that. But then the idea of deep friendship, the familial love, storge,
Sacrificial love.
right.
Like
You know, the,
that's a tough
right,
that's one you don't know about forever, you
right.
know?
Until certain things happen in life. And the problem is you can learn them in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible. But to understand, for me to understand agape, that selfless, unconditional, like I accept you as you are,
Mm-hmm.
was much easier when I had a child. Um, and it expanded from there. Like, wait a minute, why aren't my friendships like this? Why don't I treat everybody like this? Somebody somewhere looked at this person that I'm staring at
Mm-hmm.
and said, "You are a unique, one of a kind. You're one of mine."
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool. And if you
Mm-hmm.
look at it, biblically, even from there, like cooler. Have you ever, along those same lines, have you ever heard the definition of universe?
Definition of universe. No, not
What's
not what you're gonna
una?
say.
Una,
Yeah, one
one, verse,
phrase,
song,
song,
one song.
one song.
That's agape. The earth is
Actually,
playing a song.
no, it is, and actually, science has also kn- knows the sound that the universe makes. So
And does
next
it
to me,
change from decade to decade? We've only been studying it
yeah,
for how long?
I know.
Yes, it's like 50 years from now, it'll be a different tone. I'll
Yeah,
bet money on it. Matter of fact, 50 years from now? No, let's say 75 years from now. That way I'm not here to pay my debts.
nice. Okay.
I said I'd bet money. I didn't say how much. And maybe there won't be money 75 years from now. It'll all be digital.
Or we could just, you know, be in ruins again. We'll never know.
It did happen once.
Yeah.
We know that. They dug up canals. and they had flushing toilet systems.
Well, and now they're thinking they've discovered that how the pyramids can make electricity. Have you seen
What?
those? Oh my God.
No,
Okay. Whole different rabbit hole, but you can check that
that's all
out.
right.
That
Do it.
it's an actual a thing where it's a giant conductor. You got to look that one up, dude. You got to look it up.
What?
The pyramids are giant conductors. Yeah, you go down that
I
road.
don't understand. I don't understand. I'm not sure I get it.
Uh, it flowing water and the different types of stones used. Uh, let's see if I can. Uh,
Yeah.
um,
So the
there's
Great Pyramid of Giza,
there's
electrical generators, energy concentrators, resonance amplifiers, and antennas.
Yeah, just weird, some weird, yeah, because of
What?
the capstone and the different, you know how they have different random tunnels that go in weird directions and stuff. So they
No
figured
way. They were creating static electricity
maybe, yeah, so they could then static electricity can be
from
harnessed.
the maybe. Oh, that's so weird. Now my mind is
Yeah, I know. Anyway, another rabbit hole, but still,
dude, that is awesome though. No, think about it. I mean, we've people are smart.
wicked smart.
People are also incredibly dumb. It's both.
True.
It's
Well,
always been both.
what is it that George Collins Carlin said? He said, think of all the think of the average person, and then think that half of them are dumber than that, or something weird like that.
You're right. What? Oh my gosh. No, it's true.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta
And
look
then
up that quote. I gotta look it up because I want to say it right.
think of the average person and think half of them are smarter than that. That's a lot
Yeah,
of untapped potential.
I know. I know. Oh, that. Oh, that's weird. It didn't let me look it up there.
I think we underperform far greater than we ever like. I mean, there's a lot of narcissistic tendencies going on culturally right now. That is a reality. But I still think
Yeah.
we underperform at a much greater rate than the narcissism can ever reach.
Yeah. Is it really? Um, what was I gonna say? Is it really a? Is it an underperforming or is it an underutilization of skills that people have, whether it's due to motivation or effort? Because even the dumbest person is useful in a certain capacity,
For
but
sure.
not using them to that capacity is is an issue. So
For sure. I mean, that's a part of it. But at the end of the day, we're underperforming, aren't we?
okay, yeah. So if you take the aggregate and say that, yeah, we're generally underperforming what we are capable of, I would agree. Here's the actual quote. It says, "Think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that." That's the actual one. Which, and you can just hear George Carlin saying that too, because he's got that weird voice. It's just like makes it funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to think about because when you and I think about how smart people were between, like, let's say 1900, let's say 1885 and like 1985, let's just take a 100-year period in there where crazy stuff happened. You had the invention of DC and AC circuitry through the electricity wars, right? Which was just crazy. And then you have automobile and flight within like 30 years of that happening. The automobile first, and then flight like 20 years later, let's say. And then you fast forward to technology with guided weaponry, and then 15 years later you have, or gosh, less than that, maybe 5 years later you have the nuclear bomb. And now we have supersonic flight, air travel, space travel, landing on the moon, Voyager 1 and 2, zipping outside the universe, outside the solar system. And and all of that happened in 100 years. I mean, so we're not underperforming with regards to, let's say, the last 100 years of history, but what have we done since 1985? People will say it's the phone, or they'll say it's computer technology, and now they'll point at AI, but is that really advancement, or is that just laziness? We're inventing ways to do less.
So this is interesting. This came up so a lot of people I got into a conversation with a bunch of guys that I hang out with, and they talked about privilege in the United States,
The
and
P
it does
word.
tie to what you said. They
Okay.
were talking about privilege, and I said, "Hold on, time out. Like, let's think about this. Are we really privileged?" And one of the guys gave me like one of those looks of like, dude, where are you going? Like
Okay.
this is even sketchy territory, even though we know you. Like, what are
Okay.
you doing here? I said, are you more likely to find God when things are hard or when things are really easy?
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I guess I'm thinking about like David. I'm thinking about um, Job, uh, who were unique characters that knew God before they were tested, right?
Mhm.
And I would say that they're anomalies, biblically speaking. So the I think the right answer is when it's hard.
Yeah, God shows up like when when they left Egypt and were running into a river, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to die." And they turn around and there's chariots chasing them. They're like, "For sure we're going to die." God can show up. You want a
Yeah.
miracle, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Like when things are hard. Now, I'm not suggesting that we want to make things hard. I don't agree with that. I think things can be made hard on their own. We don't have to help.
Mm,
Uh, but I think one of our biggest challenges, and maybe this is why people aren't having children, like tying it all together, possibly. We love comfort.
yeah.
We worship comfort. There's a pill for that. Oh, there's a pill for that too. Oh, hey, we've got the mattress for that. Oh, we've got the car you need so you can have comfort. We've got, we've got houses with heat, running water, comfort, comfort, comfort. When's the last time most people slept in the woods
Yeah.
for more than a day or two? They don't.
Yeah.
So is it privilege to have no need for God? I would suggest that's actually not privilege. That's actually a problem.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I agree. I that is an issue. It just reminds me of a student last year or maybe the year before that asked me, like, what invention is it that contributed most to uh, to people wasting time nonsensically or something like that? Like, what is it that did that? Right. And, and I thought for a second and I was like, the washing machine. And he was like, what? It's like everyone says it's the phone. Everyone says it's TV. And you said it's the washing machine. And they're like, why did you say that? And I was like, well, think about this. What allows us to waste time? And and I said, well, the invention of the washing machine, you don't have to wash your clothes by hands anymore. You don't have to hang them up and dry them. You don't have to go out and get them and bring them inside. I was like, so all you have to do is throw them in the wash, waste time, throw them in the dryer, waste time. And I was
Yep.
like, granted, all the stuff you said is all fine too. Watching TV, playing on a computer, being on your phone, all true. And I was like, but you told me in the last 100 years. So I said, I'm not going to pick the easy ones. I'm going to pick the hard one. And I'm going to say it's the washing machine. The washing machine allowed us to waste time by taking chores and using technology to do them for us instead of us. And I said, that's my answer. You take that if you want.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. It's pretty good because it does. And, part of the reason that probably even popped in your head, I don't know this for sure, but when we were young, we did a lot of our clothes by hand.
By hand. We
Run
didn't
them
have
through
one.
that little wringer.
I
And
know.
also in the military, when everybody else was washing their clothes by hand for the first time ever on a Sunday, I was going, okay, guys, like,
This is just how you do
whatever.
it.
This is what
Yeah.
we do. All right. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, what? Have you done this before?
It's like
Yeah.
every freaking week. Yeah.
Right. Anytime I needed clean skivvy drawers, I had to do some laundry.
Yep. And nothing makes you more mad than going outside and seeing the wind had blown your clean clothes on the ground and then you had to do it again.
uh,
I know.
yeah, it's only because we were in Oregon. If we were in a place that was dry, we had to just pick them up and shook them. Been like
Yeah.
clean enough still. But
Yeah.
being in Oregon, it
Yeah.
was all wet.
Well,
We should.
I only have like a minute or two, so we
Yeah,
can start
dude,
wrapping
that's
up.
good. That's good. There's so many things that are coming to my mind now, regarding this idea of population and how dumb we are in general to the noise, that we're missing. I just recently did a podcast specifically on distractions,
Hmm.
and I'm like, people aren't paying attention to real good information, like Milgram's work on how morally swayed we can be, or conformity research about how easy it is for us to want to fit in, that will 30%, 30 to 40% of the time we'll just do it, and then those prison exam, the Stanford prison study, which I'm sure you're aware of too, but the idea of we will become what we need to become if we're buying into the noise, if we're not paying
Mm.
attention to something that's rooted deeper than that. And what we're going to become, it sounds like globally, where we started at least, was we're going to become less. We're going to
Ooh.
shrink, and we're going to shrink in a big way. And then my concern there is when you see massive shrinking or expanding, inevitably over history, we've seen it every single time, we end up with wars.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happens, then there's going to be a whole realignment. And now, oh man, that's just blows my mind. It's a rabbit trail for sure, but
It
uh,
is. And we can't solve problems if we don't have people to solve problems. We need people
right.
that can solve problems. And so less people means less problem solving. And that's scary as crap too.
Yeah, of course. So what I mean, any good takeaways for what we can do to make our lives better in this weird situation?
I would say promote responsibility, promote support networks, promote familial lineage as far as being that primary support network. Support the family as a unit, and then things should fix themselves from there. If we don't have those, we don't have a way to do it, I think.
It makes me wonder. We're not gonna go down this path because I know you got to get going. But it makes me wonder about the role of this sexual dysfunction that we see. Um, Maybe promoting uh, healthy sexual interactions would be a good place to go too.
Agreed.
Because
And that's a young person's game. You and I are out of it, so
pretty much. I'm not having any more kids unless the
no.
good Lord does something real weird.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
But it's true that it is a young person's.
They have to take that off. It was our job years ago. It's their job now. They got to figure it out.
Yeah. which makes me excited to hear that there's a lot of younger people. I interact with some, between teens and young adults in their 20s and 30s, and they're all talking about wanting to have children. And sometimes they come see me because they're devastated because they tried and they're not successful. Unfortunately, some of those are older, so they're running out of time, like you said.
Yeah.
But all right, man. Well, thank you for coming. For those of you who are out there in the little podcast land, thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. Hopefully this was entertaining. If nothing else, there's definitely some bits in here that you can get, and we will absolutely see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.